Welcome to the Mothering with Jesus podcast, where we are real and raw about the ups and downs of motherhood and where we rally together to become the mothers that God intended us to be. I'm your host, Layna Massey, and this week's episode is about how the Lord will touch us and how He comes to us wherever we're at. It's just me, no guest this week, so let's dive in. This episode is brought to you by Oliveda. Thank you so much to all my wonderful clients who have purchased through me. I really appreciate your business, and this is how I keep the podcast going, is by using my earnings from Oliveda to purchase my software and all the things that I use to keep the podcast rolling. So I really appreciate it. Oliveda has changed my skin drastically. It has helped so much with hydration. I used to have a very flaky forehead, and now it is hydrated and doing well. So I have really loved that. I also have noticed a major difference with just my pigmentation and acne. Overall, my skin just feels so much better. So reach out and let me know if you have any questions. And you can look in the show notes to purchase and get your glowy skin on. All right. Welcome. When I'm recording this, it is November 18th. And so that means we are just 2 weeks away from the beginning of December. And I'm so excited for Thanksgiving. I hope that you all have a beautiful Thanksgiving and you have family and friends around you. And for all of you mothers, I am getting everything ready for my Advent calendar to start December 1st. I read something the other day on the internet, and she was talking about how the Advent time and this season of Christmas is supposed to be peaceful and full of stillness. And I'm actually trying to get all of my Christmas shopping and wrapping done before December as well. Hopefully at least all my shopping done. For my girls. I probably won't have my husband's gifts quite yet, but hoping to have all of that done and squared away so that I can make this more of a peaceful stillness type of season. And I'm really excited. I absolutely love the Advent calendar. I use the Simply on Purpose. She does the gift of togetherness. And every day you just pull out a little activity to do together, like taking candy canes and go putting them on car handles around the neighborhood, or going on a bike ride together. That's one of our favorite ones, is a Christmas bike ride, because we don't get snow where we live. Hot chocolate, reading Christmas books together, all the little things. I absolutely love just making this time magical, trying to slow down, let go of other distractions so that I can focus on Christmas. So I hope that you are preparing to have a beautiful Christmas. This is actually a funny story. So last year, I can't remember why, but there was just one Sunday, either end of November, beginning of December, where my husband was giving us all blessings. And I think he just said, "Hey, do you guys want blessings?" And in it, he blessed me that I would have a peaceful, happy Christmas. And last year really was beautiful, and I had a very peaceful, happy Christmas. So maybe if you need to ask for a blessing, I just feel like this time is so tricky. Like with even Black Friday coming up, everybody is doing deals, and you can just get sucked into so much shopping and so much commercialism, and it can feel overwhelming because you want to get a good deal and you're buying things anyway. Sometimes I end up just like even waiting for certain things all year because I'm like, oh, I'll get it on their Black Friday sale and stock up or whatever. Anyway, so it just can end up being kind of a stressful time. And I hope that we can all go into it doing little things to set ourselves up for success and make it be really magical, not only for our children, but for us. I hope that you're taking the time to create traditions that you really love and that you enjoy doing with your children, and that you're not making it too overwhelming or too much for yourself. Maybe you need to scale back on the amount of gifts that you're giving to your children so that you don't have as much wrapping and shopping. Maybe you simplify your food, whatever it may be, to make your Christmas season happy. Maybe you don't do cards, maybe you don't do neighbor gifts, whatever things you need to do. Or maybe you do those things if those are just filling your heart. Whatever makes you happy, I hope that you can take it to the Lord and figure out how He wants your Christmas season to turn out. Okay, that was a big tangent, but I just have been thinking about that, and I think it's so important. I wanted to chat a little bit about how the Lord is just in the details of our lives and how He is constantly reaching out to us. I had a funny little experience the other day that really makes me laugh and is such a just like prime example of how the Lord works. So I'm in the temple, and as I was walking out of the dressing room, I thought, grab a Kleenex. Okay, so I grab a Kleenex. And then I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'm going to cry or maybe my nose is going to run. So I'm glad I have this Kleenex. And then I walk in and I do my initiatories. And if you're not familiar with initiatories, they put a little drop of oil on your head for each initiatory that you do. And you do 5 generally. So by the end of it, I walk out. I haven't cried. My nose hasn't ran. And I thought, oh, well, there you go. Wonder why I needed the Kleenex. And then I walk back into the dressing room, into this other little area to write on the prayer roll. And I'm just writing some names on the prayer roll. And then I have never had this happen. I've been doing initiatories all year, and this has never happened. But I'm like bending over to write, like my head is tilted down to write. And this drop of oil is running straight down my part and onto my forehead and like almost running down my face. But I quickly grabbed out my trusty little Kleenex and wiped my forehead. And I just chuckled to myself. And how loving is God? Like, what a silly little thing that He wanted me to grab, knowing that it would make my life easier. And obviously it wouldn't have been a huge deal if it had ran all down my face. I just would have went and found a Kleenex, but like I would have had this drop of oil literally running all down my face as I'm like walking over to find a Kleenex. And potentially it could have dripped on my dress, and then I would have had to try to get oil out of my dress, and who knows? It just would have been like one more thing. And as all of you know, as a mother, sometimes that one more thing is just enough to send you right over the edge. And I don't know if that's what this would have done for me, but I just appreciate knowing that as mothers, as we are trying to do all of the things, that God is there, that God is in the details, and that He is trying to make our lives smoother. If we'll slow down and if we'll take the time to listen, He literally is trying to help our lives run better. As you're running out of the house and you have the thought, grab a diaper or grab a jacket or grab a snack, or all the little promptings that we get throughout the day. Sometimes I have the thought of like, oh, there's a pair of scissors. I should pick those up so that, nobody gets hurt. He is just always trying to help us. And it reminds me of a story I heard the other day. A mom, she had this like board in her basement, and she was walking down into the basement to grab something while she was cooking dinner. And all of the kids were downstairs playing. And she walked past this board and she thought, oh, I should move that so that nobody gets hurt. But she was like, they'll be fine. I'm in the middle of this dinner. I really need to hurry. So she grabs it and runs back upstairs and had the thought again as she was going upstairs, and had the thought again once she was upstairs, but kept ignoring it. And then sure enough, one of her little boys knocked this board and it injured one of her children. I believe they had to go get stitches. But God literally is trying to keep all those little annoying or sometimes large annoying things from happening in our lives. And it just really is incredible. Another one that comes to mind is in high school, we had this door. I've never seen a door like this before or since, but we had this funny locking door on like our front door to our house. It would automatically lock behind you unless you clicked this little button that was on the side of the door. And I remember my older brother and I were running out to go to our classes in the morning, and we were running late. And as I walked out the door, I just had the thought to unclick and unlock the door. So I walk out and unclick it. So now the door is just unlocked. And sure enough, a few minutes later, my brother had forgotten something and needed to run back inside. So he easily ran back in instead of having to go and open the garage door with the code and get back inside or bang till my mom came. He just quickly went in and grabbed it, and it probably saved us a total of 5 minutes. But I'm sure it was the difference between us being late or less stressed on our way to class. And that one has always stuck with me. Just that, again, God is trying to make our lives run smoother. He's trying to be there for us. And so don't forget to listen to all those little tiny thoughts. And if you think it's you or you think it's God, just listen anyway. And I just think he's always trying to make it so that we're prepared for whatever comes up. If ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. And I think he really truly is trying to help us to not live lives of so much stress. He knows how much we're going through, and he wants to help us. And not only can we help ourselves, but we also can help others in so many important ways. So in Sunday school this week, one of the teachers shared this story, and it was so touching to me. So when he was the bishop several years ago, he is the type of guy who just wants to get things done. And if, somebody comes to him with a problem, he's just going to start working on it right away, get it finished, move it forward. And so he had just heard about this mom, this single mother who had recently moved into his ward from a different ward. And the bishop of the different ward had called and let him know that they were moving in, and let him know that they also needed a washer and a dryer. And so the bishop was like, great, I'm on it. And so he was picking up the phone to order a washer and dryer shortly after he had heard about them. And he goes to call, and then he hears the Lord tell him, not yet. So he puts down the phone and thinks, that's weird. Usually we need to be pretty prompt with the things we need to get done, right? And so then the next day he goes to call, and again, the Lord says, nope, not yet. So he holds back. And then the third day he goes to call, and he feels fine about it. And so he calls and gets this washer and dryer ordered for this family. And then he goes to see the family, and he knocks on the door, and they let him in, and he introduces who he is, and they're chatting. And he says, just to let you know, I got you a washer and dryer, and it's going to be delivered later today. And the mom starts crying, And she says, Bishop, I have to let you know that my 10-year-old son, right before you knocked on the door, was literally praying for us. And he said, God, we need a washer and dryer, and we need it now. And then you knocked on the door. And that is why the Lord needed him to wait. And that is why the Lord needs us to listen to these promptings, because we truly can help people so much. And what a sweet experience for this 10-year-old boy. I'm sure he is out there and thinks back frequently on that prayer and that miracle and knows how much God loves him. And I'm sure it is a source of strength. So I think that is so cool. And then this same man just shared how we truly can be the finger of the Lord, is how he put it, because we were talking about ether this week and how the brother of Jared went into the mountains and asked the Lord how they should have light and touched the stones, the story that we're all so familiar with. And we can be the finger of the Lord for other people as we are listening to the promptings and sharing our goodness and our time and our energy with other people. This week, I was also thinking about this sister and brother in my ward. They live down the street from me. Their names are the Barnes. They are such special people. They have been a source of help and just someone I really look up to since I have moved into this ward several years ago. And every Sunday lately, they sit with us or we sit with them. My girls find them and run over to them. And Sister Barnes has stickers and beads, and like she has literally prepared activities for my girls during sacrament meeting. And one week she had brought paper, like white paper with music lines in it, and then a green paper over top to make hymn books. And literally my girls like sewed it together during sacrament and then wrote music notes and had these special little hymn books. And you know, I don't know how much effort it takes her to do that. I know that she's just like the queen of toys and activities, and she just has a bunch of amazing things like that lying around her house. And so I don't think it's a ton of effort for her, but I mean, she's definitely taking the time and thinking about it. And I cannot even tell you how helpful it has been for me during this year that it just has felt like I don't have enough hands. And it has been so beautiful. A couple Sundays ago, my little baby, who's 18 months old, needs me all the time. I basically just have to hold her 24/7. And I often feel so sad for my little 3-year-old who doesn't get me holding her quite as frequently as I would like. But I looked over and little Reagan, the 3-year-old, was sitting on Sister Barnes' lap, and Sister Barnes just held her the entire sacrament meeting. And I just thought about how much God was aware of me and knowing that I wanted more hands. I wanted to be holding that little girl, and how aware he was of her and wanting her to be happy. And then he sent us this angel to help us during sacrament and be the hands that I needed. And help that little girl feel loved. And even my 8-year-old will often be sitting on Sister Barnes' lap. Like, she's just always snuggling one of them. And so between her and her husband and my husband and me, like, it just has just really been amazingly helpful and has just made sacrament meetings so much more relaxed because there's just more adults to children ratio. And like I said, she just brings these beautiful things. Anyway, so as much as we can, I hope that amidst all that we're doing, we're taking the time to serve those around us because it really can mean so much. It can be just a testament of God's love. And for those of us who are receiving service, I hope that we're remembering to say yes. I'm listening to a book called Girl Wash Your Face, and it's such a good book. And in it, she talks about how she's a working mom and she has, I don't even know how many children she has, but she's working and doing all the things just like we all are. And when people ask her how she does it, she just says she learned to say yes when your friend says, "Hey, can I bring you dinner?" And when your mom says, "Can I watch your kids?" And when your husband says, "I'll do the laundry," even if he's not going to do it exactly the way that you would do it, she says that we have to learn to say yes and accept the help. And I think that that is such an important thing to remember, that hopefully we're not turning away the people that God is sending us and turning away the help that he is trying to give us, because it feels hard. And I know it feels hard. You don't want to put people out and you don't want to inconvenience other people. But I always try to remember and remind myself that if they didn't want to do this, they wouldn't be offering. And, you know, when I offer things to my friends and people around me, like I truly mean it. And like, I'm hoping that they will say yes, and hoping that they'll let me share some of the load. So don't forget to say yes to all the people, all the hands that are willing to help you. And don't feel shy to reach out when you need help. There really are so many people that are willing to help you. You know, if you think of any of your friends or neighbors, if they asked you to do something, you know, that was something that you were capable of, I'm sure most of us would love it and would say yes. It reminds me of this quote by Jeffrey R. Holland that says, "May we give the God and Father of us all a helping hand with his staggering task of answering prayers, providing comfort, drying tears, and strengthening feeble knees. If we will do that, we will be more like the true disciples of Christ we are meant to be." And then this quote by Dieter F. Uchtdorf says, "It is the love of God that rescues, restores, and revives. God knows you. You are his child. He loves you. Even when you think that you are not lovable, he reaches out to you." God is reaching our reachings, and I hope that we are reaching out to those around us. And I hope that in sharing this, a few of these little stories, that you can recognize how God is reaching you and recognize his hand in your motherhood and in the day-to-day, mundane, grueling tasks that you are going through. I hope that you know how much he cares and that he loves you, and that I am forever cheering you on. We can do this, ladies. We can be amazing mothers with the help of God. I promise. I've got some really awesome guests coming up in the next few weeks that I'm so excited for you to hear from and learn from. We've got some chat about ADHD and some grief and loss conversations coming up, and it's going to be great. I also have one that I'm really excited about. A friend who is from Colombia, and she's going to share a little bit about a multicultural marriage and what it's like moving to a different country and not being in your homeland. So watch out for those ones. I am so excited for you to hear them. Thanks for being here.